Hi guys, and welcome to the Hydrofoil Academy. My name's Gav, and this is Chris. Today we're going to do a quick 5-minute 3 points of how to pop up for prone foiling. Yoo. Hey guys, welcome back to another very quick down and dirty 5-minute 3 points of one of our how-to tutorials. So today we're going to look at the prone foiling and specifically how to pop up. So we're going to assume a little bit of background knowledge before we get into this, so that you've been in the water, you know the conditions, you know how to paddle, and you've got a little bit of experience. And what we're going to try and do is finesse the pop up. So point number one that we've got is pitch control. And pitch control, what I mean by that is being able to control the nose of the board when you're paddling into the wave. So once you've paddled it and you've got stability, it's really important that you position your hands in a way that's going to be able to give you maximum control over the nose of the board. So in normal surfing, what tends to happen is you go flat-handed onto the board underneath your chest and push away for the pop-up. But with prone foiling, what we tend to do is wrap our hands around the rails of the board, and I find that's a much easier way of being able to do it.
Yeah. Next one, body position. Position your body way more forward than you would put it on a surfboard. It's kind of like on the uncomfortable forward position, and play around with that. If you feel the board comes up too early, just move that body by another 3 centimeters more forward. Yeah, that will help heaps.
And it's all about finding that balance point. Obviously too far back and then the nose of the board is going to go into the moon as you take off, and then too far forward you're just going to catapult and you're going to get a foil in the back of your head, which is not ideal. So yeah, it's all about the balance and finding that balance point, but it is much further forward than you think coming from surfing. And then the last of the pitch control is that stabilization. So it's really important that before you go for the pop-up, you're stable. And sometimes that takes a paddle, pause with your hands wrapped around the rail until you stabilize, and then you go to the pop. And that's really important. If you go to pop when the board is at a slight angle, when you're learning, it's got a bit of roll to it, then you're going to fall in straight away. So you need to be stable before you go to that pop-up. But sometimes a little pause just helps doing that.
And don't look into the water, because where you look is where you go. Put your chin up. Yeah.
All right, point two, foot position. So this is critical. This is one of the most important parts of prone foiling for the pop-up. And actually for pumping and riding waves, moving your foot or being able to move your feet into the optimum position is critical. So it's all about the center line. That is so important with prone foiling, much more than wing foiling. It's just critical that when you pop, both feet are on the center line. If they're offset slightly, when you're learning, you are going to roll and fall in straight away. So you've got to learn to be able to do that. So, Chris has been practicing that, and a good way of being able to do that is to lead with your back foot. So if you put your back foot on first, it's almost like a 1-2. It almost gives you a little bit of extra time to put that foot on the center line.
You can also look while you're doing it. Look where you put that back foot, in particular in your dry training. Yeah. Where you're off the water, you put the board on the carpet, on some grass, and you paddle and just pop up. Look where you put that back foot.
Well, and you can also mark where your front foot goes as well. So some boards like the North has got a little indications, and I do glance down. So when I'm going from riding a wave to pumping and I move my feet together, I will glance down and check where my feet are. And it's the same technique of when I was learning to pop up. It's really important you go do a quick check and make sure your feet are in the center line. And obviously, as you get better, you don't need to do that as much. It's just a feel thing. But then it's also important that you learn to correct. So by that, I mean being able to shuffle your foot so that if you're slightly out, you can quickly correct to it without having to fall in. And as I said, that's something that's like a toe heel movement. It's quite difficult to move your front foot. Your back foot's a lot easier to move. But being able to do that little shuffle is going to help you out. Yeah. Last point.
Yeah, correct equipment.
Really important.
Mast position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to go back to the beach and change the mast position. If it's too much forward and the board comes up too heavily, just move the mast further back. Maybe even if you start practicing the pop-up, move the mast further back for that. And then progressively, the more you get into pumping, like riding and then pumping, move your mast further forward.
Absolutely.
But for those initial, couple of 10 hundreds of pop-ups, don't be afraid to move the mast further back. If it doesn't feel right, come back to the shore, move it further forward, or have a tool with you in the wetsuit where you can change
It's
it.
much better to have it slightly further back in the beginning stages than it is to have it too far forward. If it's too far forward, it's going back to the pitch control, the nose will just skyrocket. So you want to be able to get that right. So a bit of advice I always say to people is you start in the middle and then slowly start working forward. And you'll find if it's too far back, you just won't be able to take off very well. And so you'll know it's too far back that way.
Board size.
Board size,
Easy pedal.
yeah, really important. So you want to make life easy for yourself, right? So
Same as in surfing. Don't get started on the smallest board, which you can't easily pedal into a wave. Rather get started on a bigger board, which allows you to pedal easy into wave, catch the wave early before it gets really steep. And that's it. Just don't get started on a short board.
And then the last one, which is a really big subject, so I'm just going to scrape the surface a bit. It's all the foil itself has to be a progressive lift foil when you're learning. So don't go for a high aspect wing that pumps really well. You want something that's going to deliver lift at a gradual rate. Something that's not too big. There's a lot of energy in the swell coming through, so you don't need to go massive. Something around, like for my weight when I learned, was around 1500. That was probably the biggest you want to go. Maybe I could have got away with something slower, but a mid aspect, something that's going to give you a nice, easy takeoff.
1200 is usually perfect.
Exactly. Something that's mid aspect, or that's surf orientated. One of those. Don't jump onto a high aspect wing to learn, because it will make it really difficult for yourself. Okay, I think that's it.
That's it.
We made it just about 5 minutes, a little bit over. But
perfect.
Okay.